Thoughts on the first few days of camp?
Good start. Good start. Not great start, good start. We got a lot of new faces. Been really good energy, I think, and I guess we're probably at that expectation level of where we are right now. We're still trying to teach them kind of all the logistical things of how we do it, right? How we practice and how we operate and the tempo with which we want to play. And, we had some big moments of emphasis yesterday in our meetings about some of just the practice expectations things, making sure that we're meeting those and setting the standard high enough to get that done. I do think that we're a more athletic team, and that's fun. We are a competitive team. That's fun. Preston's got good energy, man. It's been fun with him, and even Kevin, coming up behind him's doing a really nice job. So cautiously optimistic. We got to a good point here 5 days in, had some good contact these last 3 days here, so give them a good week break, and then we'll come back and really kind of, I think we got a bunch of our offense in, so there won't be just tons of, it'll be a lot of review once we're back off the road, and just kind of honing our skills and shaping our offense, seeing what it's going to become.
Preston, coming off the injury, what have you seen from him? And then Kevin, just entering year 2.
So you really can't tell difference in Preston's energy. Injury, nor his energy for that matter. But it was, he's come out here and been good, man. He's trying to take a leadership role. First time that he's been in kind of that driver's seat, since he was in high school, and he's got his own way of operating. It's a little different than Tanner's was, but just as effective. And it's been fun watching him develop. And so I think that he's a gym rat. He's a ball junkie. He'll show back up there and hang out for 2 hours with us this afternoon and do all that. He does a great job of absorbing information. He does a great job of asking questions, and he does a great job of kind of interacting with his teammates at all different levels. So been really pleased with his start so far. The execution piece will come, I think, as we continue to push our offense and figure out where we want to go with it. But I've been pleased with his start. Really kind of encouraged by Kevin. He's a little underweight right now with where we want to be, but he's just kind of now getting to that point where he understands, what his expectations are from that standpoint and getting to that point. Now, you talk about a guy the game has slowed down a lot for him, and maybe it was always naturally a little bit slow for him, which is good. You know what I mean? He really sees things, man, and he's a fearless guy, and he's got a rocket arm and kind of makes some off-balance throws that, I think once Coach Brewer cleans that up, one, can be useful, and two, when we do clean it up, boy, and he's really stepping into his throws and doing some things, he's going to be. We are been really pleased with Kevin's first 5 days.
Every year is a new year, but if there was one player that kind of built momentum from the end of last year to this year, maybe it's Roderick, a guy that was used in multiple different ways. What have you seen from him so far, and just kind of the versatility that he can give you guys?
Yeah, Junior's been an entirely different approach player, kind of similar to what you're saying. It's like he got kind of tired of maybe not doing everything we asked him to do, and he jumped right in, and he's been doing it. It's like showing some leadership skills, and he does that. He's obviously, I think there's been a recognition that he's a guy that requires touches because he is so dynamic with the ball, in space with different guys. So, we had a jet that they bottled up over on us there. It was a minus 2 yard loss that he turned into a 4 yard gain. He's that kind of player that can really make yards out of things that aren't there. So, to your point, he's a guy that came in here with a different approach, different mindset, different leadership. He's quieter than he was in a good way, kind of more stoic about it maybe even than, and so I really excited about potentially what he could do with him. We've talked about getting into some personnel packages to increase his versatility, put him in positions where maybe we can get him multiple touches in different ways, from different positions across the field.
Offensive line, you've got 2 pieces from the transfer portal that'll be coming in. Justin's not going right now. How are you kind of approaching it with that group that you've got that's being able to get some good work in, but also knowing that there are maybe some pieces that are starting pieces that aren't here yet?
Yeah, I'm really excited about what our offensive line can become because we're pretty good right now without, probably 2 or 3 more pieces that are coming in here that could be potential starters when you get Justin back, and then obviously our 2 guys that are coming in. But what you get out of Cam Irvin and Ben Sparks are 2 guys that have been in this program for a long time, man, and they could start for us right now, and I think we're confident with that and the development of that. So that's going to create great competition when these other guys get here. Excited about that. Hiron White's jumped in here it's good to see him moving around again. And I mean, we feel really good about our 2 tackles, obviously, and so we're getting some of those young guys work and kind of getting them out of there. To your point, I think that, man, we feel pretty good right now, which means we feel really good when we get those guys on campus and we kind of create a little bit more of a competitive element and get the best guys that we can out there, on the field. That top 5 that Coach Justice is going to have, but for sure we're going to feel great about probably 8, or 9 even. So excited about that.
One of the guys that you have to replace among the graduating seniors was at your position. Ben Redding did an awful lot for you. R.J. Maryland, though, got to the end zone 6 times. He only had 28 catches. Do you feel like you have to call his number more? And what have you seen from him as far as his development and progress from a year ago?
Yeah. So, one, we really are going to miss Ben. Ben was a great, and obviously you saw when we lost him in the Houston game, boy, it was a different productivity group, that was coming out of our room, I thought. And Gage Haskins stepped up and really helped us a lot. And, we had Nolan Matthews and some of those guys were present, but it wasn't the same at that time, for Ben. So that's been a big challenge for them, obviously, this spring, being able to fill that role and beyond. RJ is a guy that has a unique skill set, to your point. He's a guy that, really, really dynamic in space and understands how to route run. He's a great blocker on the perimeter, does some things. He's a guy that's 230 pounds now that we knew he would be, when he got here last year. And I was like, man, wait till he's 230, so now he's there. And so he's starting to show he's got a different mindset. I love his approach. He's got a real professional mindset about coming in here. He takes care of his business. We challenge him on specific things, and he's a kid who likes to respond to those sort of things. He likes small goals ahead of him so he can push towards that, and he's pretty serious about doing the things that we need to do. So there's still a lot to develop. He was not prepared to be a every down blocker in our league last year. He ended up getting forced into that role late in the season. So that's something that obviously we've been working on a lot this spring and matching that, knowing he's going to be really good at the perimeter piece, because that's kind of where he was raised. But if we can get him there where he's operational in the box and he doesn't even have to be dominant, just operational with what it was. Ben Redding to a degree, and then he's got obviously a unique skill set. Now you've got a lot of versatility in your offense. So if we can find more guys like RJ to fill in and fill that role, then that'll help us play faster and be more versatile on offense as well.
Jordan Kerley added 10 pounds, maybe even 15 by now. What have you seen from him, and with this extra work that he kind of is finally getting in spring practice?
Yeah, this is something Jordan's needed his entire career, and the nature of the game has kind of put him in a disadvantage from that standpoint. But he's just chest and shoulders and like all these things that you've really never seen on Jordan, right? Starting to show through. His shirts are tighter and all that. He's a freaking good-looking dude, and he's out there. He's working. He's still got he's got incredibly dynamic speed. So watching him develop, and like to your point, just getting him out here for the first time to be around our quarterbacks, be around the rest of our team, make sure that he's operating with our receivers and doing those things has been it's been a lot of fun. So he's a guy that's he's coming in to his last year of eligibility, and so it's time for him to be in a position where he can take on kind of that alpha role maybe that that Rasheed left when he left, and so putting him in there, but it's invaluable. Springtime is invaluable for anybody, but particularly your first one, and particularly when it's your first one and you've been in college for 4 years, so it's been fun to watch him blossom.
On the list of players that you wouldn't want to have a full speed head start to block you, how high would Elijah Chapman?
Elijah's got a unique skill set, man. He's certainly a guy he's compact and he's intentional about striking, and we were on he's probably got the most potential blocking those kind of plays than any player that we've had since Jay Prosh on the national championship team in 2013. And so at Auburn, he ended up playing for the Texans for a number of years, and he's got kind of that old school fullbackiness to him that is you can ask the defensive line probably better than you can ask me. I know it don't look like it's fun when he comes across there, which makes me happy. So he'll add a unique component to our offense that I think allows us. We wanted to be more of a downhill rush offense, we really committed to making sure that we can't be 6th in the league anymore in rushing. We got to push ourselves up there and do that. So we're finding different ways to make sure that we can do that. Elijah's a guy that can add a unique component, like I said, to our run game. And so it's been fun. Obviously, he's still playing, he's got to fulfill his D-line role. So in order for us to, kind of work around that, make sure we're getting good reps out of it. But he's an old enough guy, he's mature enough at this point that he can handle what they're asking him to do on defense and then still pick up and understand what it is that we, in the specific ways we can use him offensively.
With running backs, just Jaylan and LJ, just kind of what are some first impressions of seeing them out here and maybe adding a little something there that
I think there's some flash. I think there's certainly some flash from both of them. So it's both of them are reckless effort guys, which is awesome. You know what I mean? They are downhill and they are physical, and they've really brought an element of physicality that maybe we hadn't had there. But I mean, Tyler's kind of his own unique version, but this is kind of some explosive speed that's it's been fun to have them there, and they're competitive and they're for each other, which has been fun. So they've shown some maturity from that standpoint, and getting them out here and working, man. We've improved in that room, and I'm excited to watch. When we get back from spring break, as these guys, as the mechanisms of our offense slow down in their head and they're out there just kind of playing and not thinking, then I think we really got a chance to see how far they can go.
You mentioned Tyler. Do you have an ETA or a schedule as to when he'll be through some more rehab and ready to rejoin you on the field?
Summer, I think. I'm not. It was an original. It was a pretty significant procedure that he underwent. I'm not sure when he won't be back this spring practice, but that's that's kind of protects him from himself, because he's a reckless effort guy that would he'd come out here and hurt himself or somebody else, and so now we got a chance to keep him like, hey man, we'll let you tackle in August again, and he won't need much time to recover and be ready for that.
Is it crazy that Jackson Lavender could get playing time this year? He looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, Jackson. It's been fun. All those high school guys. There's 4 of them that have been here too on defense. I know they can speak better to them. On offensively, I've seen them show up. Mm-hmm. It's like, God dang, that kid's a high school senior. Running around here. Lav's kind of got a similar dynamic, man. He's a gym rat, like super gym rat. He's here all the time, right? Coach Likas can't get him to go home, and so it's which is awesome, man. He knows what's going on. He's super effort. He's learning. He's strange. You can tell he's a coach's kid, man. It's important to him, and he's got some ability. He can really run, and he catches, and he invests. And so that investment is certainly going to show up for him. We'll see. Once we get to the most competitive point of our receiver room, exactly how that will all shake out, but. Right now, man, he's right in the mix, and all those guys in that room, respect him for it.